Hi again, guys. So as part of our mini project on the most important part of our body, this is part 2 of how your heart works. So in this tutorial, we're carrying on to find out more about our heart. So guys, as part of our learning about the different parts of our body together, in this tutorial, we are going over how we tested our hearts out. So guys, we did this to get to know our hearts better by testing our heartbeat under different circumstances. Let's begin, guys, by asking what a heartbeat actually is. So I'll give you a minute to think about what is a heartbeat. So as in session, guys, well done. A heartbeat is what our heart does when it's pumping blood around our body. So as it's putting that pressure on, sending that blood around our body, it pulsates, and that's how we feel a heartbeat. So that's our blood being pumped by the heart around the body, taking all those nutrients and oxygen to our various body parts. So again, in this session, guys, we're testing this heartbeat out. So guys, to begin, do please open this document that you will find in Google Classrooms. So you'll find this in our Google Classroom for project, and it's called Report Let's Test Out Our Heart. So it's the latest assignment posted up on there. Do open that and we can go through it together. So guys, this here is our report opened. So guys, whenever we test something out, so as we're testing out our heart here, this is a scientific experiment. This is why we're calling it a report. So as with any experiment, guys, we always start with a introduction. So in the introduction, guys, we give some information into what it is that we are actually looking at. So in this case, we're looking at our heart. So our heart is a muscle whose job it is to send blood all over our body, carrying important nutrients and oxygen. Each time your heart pumps blood, it first needs to fill up with blood, then it contracts or squeezes to send the blood out of your heart and to the rest of your body. This is known as a heartbeat. Guys, we're introducing what a heartbeat actually is. So with any test report, what we do is we begin with giving an introduction into what the topic of that test is. So guys, then we go on to introduce how you can feel this heartbeat. So how we can feel this heartbeat as the blood goes around our body, and where the best places are to find the pulse. Okay, and what a heart rate is. So our heart rate is how often our heart beats in a minute. That's when it becomes a rate, because we're measuring it against time. Again, guys, it's good to include as much information in our introductions as possible when we're testing something. So you could include information on how to look after the heart and keep it healthy, because it does such an important job of carrying the blood around our body. So guys, after an introduction, we carry on to the objective of our test. So in today's activity, we will use the scientific method to get to know our heart rate better under different circumstances. So today we are designing an experiment to test the effect of different activities on your heart rate. So guys, this is just familiarizing ourselves with how to write a report when we're testing something, so that in the future we can write our own reports. So in this one, guys, you will be putting in an hypothesis and your results, but in the future you will go on to write your own introductions and objectives. Guys, you always follow that with the material. What do we need to test this out? So guys, a report when we're testing anything out literally follows it from start to finish. so that if somebody else wanted to repeat our test, they could simply repeat it using the information that we've included. So they're usually very step by step. Guys, we move on then in the report to describe the directions. How could we test our heartbeat out, guys? So the starting point is to find your pulse. So guys, do pause this video and find where your pulse is. So you can normally feel it on your wrist and here at your neck. Do make sure to use your index finger, not your thumb, because the thumb has its own pulse. So just as I mentioned in session, guys, your thumb usually has its own pulse. So guys, when you found your pulse, we can start off our test. And we start by measuring our resting heart rate. So that's when we're not active and we're not doing anything. We're resting, and that is called our average heart rate. So make sure you're in a comfortable position, guys, and find your pulse again, just as you did just before. And guys, what you've got to do is count how many times your heart beats in 15 seconds. So to do this, you're going to need either a watch, a clock, a phone, or have someone else time you. So what you need to do is check how many times your heart beats in 15 seconds. And write that down, guys, so that you don't forget. And because we want to know how many times it beats in a minute, guys, we simply times it by 4. Because again, 15 seconds times 4 is a minute. So that's why we times the heartbeat that we got for 15 seconds by 4. So for example, if your heart beat 25 times, so if your heart beat 25 times in 15 seconds, you would times this by 4, and 25 times 4 is 100 times in 60 seconds. So that's what you're doing, guys. You're finding your resting heart rate. So guys, those instructions are here also for you on the document. So guys, your resting heart rate would be somewhere around 100 beats per minute. You can even use a heart rate tracker. Some phones have them. If you have one, but doing maths is fun. So if you count how many times your heart beat in 15 seconds, you can times it by 4. So again, guys, let's have a look at these instructions again also if you're not quite clear there. And yeah, guys, so now it's time to experiment with that. Now that you've got your resting heart rate, let's see what happens when we're not resting. What do you think happens when we're not resting? So this is the time to experiment. What would happen if we're not resting and we've been active? So this is where we hypothesize, guys. We come up with what we think will happen. So for example, if you took a lap around your back garden, or you did 15 squats, or you jogged on the spot for a minute, what do you think would happen? Okay, so first of all, do decide what you would like to do. Would you like to jog or squat, jog on the spot, go up and down the stairs, for example, a few times? So decide on what you want to test, and then make a hypothesis. So just like we did now, what do you think will happen after you've done that activity? What will happen to your heart rate? Will it increase? Will it decrease? So decrease is it when it goes less, when it goes slower, or will it go faster? So what do you think is going to happen to your heart rate when you complete your activity? So here, guys, you write down what you think will happen. So this was what one of you thought in session would happen, and we note it down here, guys. So in your document, you will have an empty space here, and you simply click and you can type in what you think will happen. So what Yaya said was it will boost up, it will go up, it will increase to, and he even made an estimate of what he think it will increase, what it will increase to. So excellent, it will increase to 120, 130. So that's brilliant. If you can also hypothesize, guys, what you think it will increase to. But simply what you're writing here is you're hypothesizing whether you think it will go up or down. Okay, so once you've done that, guys, you have a little chart there. Simply click and you can type in your heart rate when you were resting and what happened after your activity. So you can type in your activity there, what you chose to do. Okay, so we also had an idea of doing it after listening to some music. You guys hypothesize that when we listen to slow music, the heart rate will go slower. And when we listen to fast music, it will go faster. So excellent, guys. I really like that idea. So you can definitely test that one out too. So yes, guys, a retest. A good scientist always tests their experiment more than once. So let your heart rate come down first after you've done that jog or whatever activity you picked, and then you can repeat your experiment. So if you'd like to test it with music, let your heart rate come down first back to its resting heart rate, and then you can test that out. Did you get the same result as when you jogged or whatever activity you did the last time? Did you get the same result the second time? So this is a good way to test our hearts out. So yes, guys, there are so many different variables. So the variable is what you're changing. We're changing the activity we're doing. So we've gone from jogging to listening to music, for example. So there's many things you can test with your heart rate. So have fun experimenting. And I will see you next session, guys. So do fill in this document. See you soon, guys.